Все, я пошел снимать. Hello to everyone. Welcome to Marine Optimization Consultancy. And let me put my glasses. Yes, my glasses, because we have a very important topic. So first of all, it's a very huge and big topic. So that topic is about it is one of the goal that we will achieve in some point for the net zero. The net zero is already in progress. Excuse me. Let me share also the link to the LinkedIn as well. I know it is Saturday. Some people are, let's say, doing their own job, so it's not that much availability. Let's check. Interesting. Okay, maybe after the share of today's stream, we will have something much better preview. Let's see. So as I told you yesterday, it is very important, I think, that you are making questions. Yes. Okay. That is good. Let me see. So let's name it the ultimate guide, let's say, for decarbonizing marine fuels, marine engines. It's a very huge chapter, but I believe I know how to deal with that and how to set up that improvement in order to start reaching that goal. Because looking to that, yes, we have made some steps, but we are not close enough in order to make some significant progress. So in order to reach net zero, I will tell you one thing. From the beginning, it's not available at all, my dear friends. It is something like saying zero accidents. When I was applying for my position as marine technical advisor, I have a really great question from one of the managers there. Is it possible to make zero accidents? And my answer was no, it is not possible. And after years, after seeing also working in these organizations, yes, we have seen that the accidents repeated again and again. They are there. And also that's why we cannot achieve the net zero. So it's very ambitious target. But what we can do, actually, we can improve the existing emission control. So still, if you look around the industry, if you look around the vessels, if you look in the assets, they emit a lot of emissions without anyone noticing that. And that is true. So IMO, as a huge organization, have failed to implement, to also survey and monitoring all that vessels. And basically, we have a law, but the law is not working. It does not have, it has force. Actually, let's say in the entire war, everybody have voted, okay, everybody have agreed, but it's not applicable in all the locations. I have been yesterday here, let's say in the port of Rafina, nearby, let's say our home city, and still you can, if you're stand, let's say on the seaside, and you see the vessels that depart from the port, the passenger vessels, if the smoke comes to your face, you cannot breathe. So that is all emissions. That is diesel engines that continuously emit and transfer our great tourists around, let's say, the islands, and they have fun. But the nature and the people that are living in the ports, they really, really suffer from this overload of atmosphere pollution and the emissions. So basically, Greece, it is, let's say, in the European Union as a country, but we do not have the application of the regulations as required. So basically, yes, we are part, let's say, of that big, let's say, organization, but we are not implement them. Just a very easy task: go straight to the port, check the emissions, and you will see exactly what we're talking about. So that is a gap already. That is a huge gap that exists. If the vessels make the emissions, and these emissions daily, we're talking about thousands of thousands of tons of CO2 emitted from countries that are not properly checked, are not properly monitoring. So for me, it is a failure. It is a failure from the organizations of the regulations and of the laws to be applied. It's just simple. So it's not only Greece, it is a lot of countries around. We can take also countries, let's say in Asia, a lot of countries in Asia. We can talk about, okay, yes, different countries. And also probably yes, US itself emit more than all the globe together, from the methane, from the wells that are not sealed. We have seen that. So there is a lot of work to be done. And the most important thing that we do not have people, enough people to perform that sealing, checking, and also follow up of the existing, let's say, assets. So what we will do on that, it's a big question to the organizations. But from my understanding, there is no one there that has a magic, let's say, stick and will solve the problem. There is not such people, and even people that will to resolve the problems. So what we have to do, we have to be really, really focused and really structured on the resolution of this exactly compliance. And the compliance is not meaning that we have um, to follow the things, let's say 100%. At least we do, let's say, a partial commitment, and then after the partial commitment we change also our mentality and we get the full commitment on that. I don't believe that when we implement a regulation or a law, that directly all of seafarers, let's say all the organizations, are directly able to implement them. Because one important thing is that the competency of the offices of the seafarers are not the same in all the countries. So you have a lot of variables. Probably, let's say, in the north part of Europe, you have different mentality, you have different level of engineers, you have different support of the engineers. So the compliance and the regulation have a different way of the implementation. It's not the same thing. And this is what the laws, the regulations are not able to understand. And that's why we have this gap. Still, a lot of vessels are emitting. We can make a lot of pictures, and not only the vessels by itself, it's also a lot of facilities, trucks, cars, a lot of different kind of factor, human factor related activities. Even our breath, we are exhaling, let's say, CO2. So what we have to do, in my opinion, one of the part and the pillars, for sure, it is the fuel. The fuel itself, what fuel we will burn. But it's not only the fuel that we will burn, it's also how efficiently we will burn that fuel in order to have the most less amount of emissions, the most less amount of emissions that will be produced on the exhaust gases. So what we have to do, it is installing a system which continues monitoring of what we have created, what we have created as the exhaust gases. Because now, in nowadays, if you're going, let's say, on the tanker, on the vessel, you do not see what kind of exhaust gases you are producing. So basically, the manufacturer has to set the CO emissions, let's say, carbon monoxides, what else we have from the exhaust gases? All, let's say, the potential, let's say, gases that the engine produce, and set it for different, let's say, conditions. Vessel loaded, vessel, let's say, ballast condition. So to have about a base from where you have to be, let's say a baseline. Okay, this is the baseline. The vessel is emitting these exhaust gases and all the things. Because for the real example, the vessel can make pollution, air emission, can have, let's say, for example, bad fuel injection system, can have bad maintenance, like piston rings, let's say, it is broken or already old. So the vessel, the amount that you are, let's say, report daily or let's say weekly, when you report that to the authorities, you said that you burn 100 tons and you emitted, let's say, this amount of CO2, but actually you can emit other pollutants that are not monitored through inadequate combustion. So all the things has to be monitored and adjusted, not only at sea, but also in the cities as well. In the cities, in the public roads, in the traffic cars, trucks, and all the things. So it is not only just shipping. And now we can see that we have a lot of wars around the globe. So all that also emitting through the burning, let's say, of the factories, through the burning of different, let's say, plastics facilities. That is also emissions, excuse me. So we have talked about the fuel transition. The next thing is that we monitor the fuel and we take also precise adjustment when we see that we are deviating from the baseline that we have specified with the maker. So the precise timing, the load management on the engines. So we will not, let's say, overload the engines without unnecessary. And also, most of the companies have to agree that they will be sailing, let's say, on specific speeds. So the speeds reduction have a huge impact on the fuel saving. So now we have, yes, the faster the vessel sailing is, the more, let's say, much more capable a vessel. So the companies itself has to set down the profits also, because everything it's about profits, and they have to step up and say, okay, we will reduce everybody the speeds around, let's say, 2 nautical miles or 4 nautical miles, and we will not speed up unnecessary. Because what I have seen many times from my also, wait, give me that. So what we will have to do, what we will have to do is, what we will have to do is, yes, put likes, my dear friends. So what I have seen, a real example, a real example. We have a vessel running like a crazy. The order was running fast. And then when we arrived, they said it was not unnecessary. So better planning. But the emissions was already created, okay? The emissions was already made. At the end, it's not always everything about the profits at the end. So this is also shows, because most of the companies are advertising, we have core values, we have these values, we have that values. From my understanding, what I have seen, they do not have any values, and that is the real face of this kind of the commercial companies. The only value that they have, it is the assets creating and increase of, let's say, the funds. This is the only thing that they have in mind, in my opinion. Maybe somebody can see it differently, but this is what I have seen. And it's really bad, because at the end, the planet does not care about who will make the most of the profits at the end of the day. The planet will be always here, will be without us or with us, if we are capable to keep the atmosphere clean and sustainable for to sustain our lives. Otherwise, the planet will keep turning by itself, and that doesn't care at all. So it is completely a shift of the mindset of how we are approaching, how we are understanding the world and the emissions itself, how we are realizing, how aware we are about the emissions and the footprint that we are creating from the existing operations. So very important thing is that we need to review all the existing operations in order to decarbonize them, because a lot of operations has been done for more than 10 years, 15 years, 20 years. So companies and huge organizations have to set up a program for revise and review frequently the existing operations and set up reviews with teams, let's say, with specific people that have knowledge or in the part of optimizing things, improve, and set new goals and new adjustment setups in order to create a better way to reduce the emissions. So yes, it is huge workload. It requires people that have experience, knowledge in that operation. It is a combination. It is a combination of stakeholders engagement as well, and yes, it's a teamwork that actually will change the way how the operations are done. So after the engine tuning and the efficiency, let's say PMI test, we have specific programs that we are checking that all our equipment are performing in maximum. And one of the huge, let's say, wins that we can do, it is the waste heat recovery system. So a lot of waste, a lot of heat is wasted. So as the technologies are improving, we are able to create such equipment that will reuse the heat and will transform it, let's say, for power generation. It can be also reheating system when where it's required. So a lot of parts of emission, we know about 20% of the heat loss in the engines is lost in heat. So it's lost through the heat, around 15 to 20%. So that specific heat, if it will be, let's say, redirected again for preheating, let's say, fuel or something, that's a huge advantage, really huge advantage. So, for example, I have think about the cooling water can be, let's say, power some equipment, some air conditioning as well. Because at the vessels now, at the moment, the oldest vessels, let's say 10, 15 years old, still in operation, and even much more newer vessels that now built in nowadays, still they have air conditioning system that consumes around 150 kilowatts per hour. Just imagine how much huge amount of fuel is being consumed. And also, as we are creating better systems, we design better system, much more efficient. What is happening? I'll show you exactly what is happening. So when we are designing a better system, a much more capable system, more efficient, more reliable, your needs also for the energy start to reduce. So your needs are going down. If your needs for the consumption increases, your needs also for the power increases. So it's everything about the consumption. How much we consume, how we are consuming, how efficiently we consume. All that plays a really, really huge role. So if we can, let's say, save 15 to 20% from the entire fleet, from specific way of operation, specific way of design, specific way of doing things on the vessel, we are basically already have a setup for the green, let's say, reduction. So what we can do and how this will help us in the transition, we will slow down the consume of excuse me, we will slow down the consume of fuels, of fossil fuels, and as the knowledge are progressing, the knowledge are progressing, and we are develop much better understanding, and then we are able, let's say, to transition to different ways of technologies and uses, okay, use cases. For sure, this is a big win. This is a really, really huge big win because the overall emissions on the planet will be much less. So we will have a much better quality of life, breathing much clean air, fresh air without any kind of, let's say, dangerous particulates and all the things. So it is another way of living, and it's another way of quality of life, okay, rather than breathing all that smoke, let's say oils and all that stuff. And yes, from the view of regulatory compliance, it requires, yes, a lot of efforts from chief engineers, from the superintendents to review and to create work teams which will make some proposals, some reviews, because this work is not a work for just one company. It's a work for the united world together. All the companies create these groups, and also when they share these ways of the implementation, how to do these things, they also help each other. It is like to have a common goal. This is very, very important thing. So yes, I believe starting even from some small step that you are able, let's say, to determine and find it and realize what you're able to do, that's really, really fantastic. That you can save, let's say, deploy of additional vessels, let's say, deploy of additional operations. In my, let's say, career, I have reduced the operations. So basically, I reduce the amount of the vessels that needed, let's say, to discharge, avoid STS, avoid double, let's say, double banking, let's say, of different vessels. So we reduce the amount of the vessels required to bring the product. And also what we did, we um, understand the capacity of the assets that we had in the terminal, and we were able to bring much bigger vessels. So that is a really, really huge knowledge, because that thing was made by me, and basically I was followed and in every step taking the lead in order to bring that things and make them work in the real world. So basically, when you are there, when you are engaged, when you're pushing one thing to happen, it will happen in some certain point. And the feeling is amazing, because you have achieved something that nobody did before, and not even, let's say, try to do it. So it's really, really huge thing when you accomplish such, let's say, interesting progress, which does not help only the planet, but makes the life of, let's say, seafarers much easier. And this is one of the things I'm thinking also when building projects, when working on projects. We have to make the life of operator easier. We have to look for the environment, for sure, the profitability. So we have all that kind of combination, less expenses as well. So we have to combine all the things, balance them together, and then yes, see what how we can do it. And also, yes, keep that thing, let's say, in program, in time. That's really, really important. The delivery of the projects in time. So if you have any questions, yes, that will be really, really great. If you have any questions, I'm checking my phone a little bit. So, yes, Yes, that is it. That is it. You can do a lot of things. You can do a lot of things. Also, if you're working, let's say, in such projects in the decarbonization, nowadays, yes, you have a huge help of the AI. You have really, really huge help of the AI. So you can analyze things, you can support them with facts, you can read some technical stuff as well. It's really, really fantastic of how all these systems will give the progress further. And I truly believe that this is the development, yes, of the future. So we will have a much easier flow of the information. But the most important thing is that we have systems that are capable to make a full analysis and to give the best possible action and result in order to resolve the existing problems and issues that we have. It's not only the gathering of the data, it is what we have as the output at the end of the day and how this output will help us to progress further up, optimize the organizations, bring the return of investment from the day one, because this is the most important thing that I have aimed in all the projects to bring the ROI directly, not waiting for years and years. It does not have any sense to make a waste of time. And the business here, it has to progress fast, quickly, reliable, and accurate. Without the delays, clear vision, clear resolutions, and yes, clear achievements as well. So if you have any, let's say, questions, please drop them. If you have any questions. But the chapter itself, yes, the chapter itself, it is really, really huge. It is really, really huge. Okay, if you have any questions. What is the next video? Okay, I will make a question to you. What is the next video you would like, let's say, to see or the live to discuss here? Not tomorrow, let's say Monday or another day, yes, within the week. What is, yes, the things that you would like to discuss? Which topic? And one thing I would like to remind you that wherever you are doing something, let's say you're analyzing something, you're working on something, it does not matter for now. Maybe in 10 days, in 15 days, or let's say years, 10 years, you'll be working on another industry. Maybe you have think that, maybe completely different, but still you will have the mindset of how to approach the things. This is the most important thing. So you're building the learning mindset, the winning mindset, and the mindset that are able to create, are able to think freely, questioning, always questioning. And with this mindset, for sure, all the doors it's open for you. That is clear. There will not be any barriers. Thank you, my dear friends. Wish you a great Saturday evening, and most probably we will talk together on Monday and next week around same time evening. We will tune and let's check about what we will talk about. Let's take excuse me, let's take some ideas. Let's take some ideas. What is the potential idea, let's say? What idea we can for the next life, okay? Drop some ideas. I'm checking now also. Okay. Um the next this will be the next video. I will drop it here in the chat. Mastering ship systems with engine room simulator, a step by step guide to success. Because yes, I have done many simulators. We have here available also in the channel simulators which you are able to start from the vessel which is completely off, all the equipment is off, and you start step by step switching every switch, emergency diesel generator, and then step by step you are able to see all the steps that is required in order to set up a fully functional vessel. If you learn that step by step guide, you know to start any kind of vessels, any equipment, because the basic, the basic steps, and from that you can go anywhere. Thank you very much, my dear friends, and have a good evening. Bye bye.